I wanted to do a quick video on multi-take recording inside of Bitwig Studio. I know most people probably aren't using this program to do a lot of like multi-track recording, but even so, this might be useful to you if you're recording in a lot of MIDI passages or you're recording a vocalist or a guitar player, anything like that. Hopefully this might give you some insight into how this is all working. And I'm not going to say this is the most fluid process in the world. There's a lot that could probably be improved upon, but like everything inside of digital audio workstations, you often find that you can do the same process. Sometimes it just takes a few more steps depending on what program you choose to use. The first thing I wanted to show you, though, which is something that I've been wanting for a long time, is the ability to control the relative balance of faders all together. So if we turn the inspector off and I select all of these and I try to change a fader, it's only going to move one fader. Now, I think with the version 1.3.5, they brought this new feature in where if you go to the inspector, you can actually select the three and it's going to have tracks 3. And I could take this and I could pull this down. You can see that it's keeping my balances relative to one another, which is what I want to have happening. And you're going to want to hold down shift here too, so that you can get this a little bit more finely tuned. The issue though with this right now is that if I double click and I put -6, it's going to just jump everything to -6. So you can see that it balances them all out there. I'm still hoping and waiting for the day when you can select all of these and just kind of move the faders relative to one another. But this is still going to be helpful for those situations when you start to be going a little bit too hot into whatever you might have on the master bus and you just want to bring everything down together. You will be able to do that now by selecting across. And if our meters are all different, we will be able to then go in here and you can see the relative adjustments occurring like so. But now on to the actual purpose of this video and multi-take recording, or in this case, we're kind of doing a punch-in, punch-out example. So if you're used to recording on tape, this is the way that you would kind of have to do it in the past. So if we listen back to this scale being played against the drum beat, we'll hear where a mistake has been made. I mean, and clearly you can tell that there are mistakes being made all over the place, but this is the most blatant one. So what I would do is I need to go in here and I need to punch in and punch out this section. So if I go in here and I take that section, I can do multiple things with it. The way I would go about this is I'd actually disable this by clicking Option A on a Mac, and then I just would kind of drag this off to the side. So now with the punch in and punch out, I just use my loop braces to define the area where I want the recording to come in. I turn punch in, punch out off. I can go back and play back from wherever, have record enabled here, click play. And that actually went worse than what it was before. However, you can see that this is how that would work. And now if I was like, all right, that really sucked, I can just go back. And do it again. Now, what happens in this instance is that when I do it again, what was there before is now gone. I can't recover it. I can't drag this out and see any more recording happening. And so that's kind of a problem. So maybe what will happen is if I choose looping, then I'll be able to record in this one area and I'll be able to recover everything that's going on. So I'll try that now and just loop through this one section. Let's see if this will work. But this isn't working either. All it's actually doing, and in this case I have overdub on, so it's leaving any new notes. I'll just explain that to you in case you're confused with how that works. I'll play up another octave, and then I'll turn overdub off, and you'll see the difference. So when we turn overdub off, it's then kind of refreshing and creating a new clip to be played in. You can see all the old notes then get deleted. But this is troublesome and this is a problem. And why is this a problem? Because we can't record multiple takes. We're just getting that one take. Now, if you were doing this with a tape machine and you were punching in and punching out, you sometimes would have to spend, 2-3 hours just getting one part just right. And if you accidentally punched in or punched out too soon or too late, it would mean you'd have to go back further and repeat the process. And this is the whole reason why we're now working in digital and not recording it to tape, is so we could record as many instances as we want and not have to worry about getting this exactly right. And if there's a performer, they can have the flexibility of, doing it a million times and knowing that afterwards we can take the best take. Obviously, some people will argue, well, then the person who's performing isn't going to be as focused, which is probably true because they know they can just do it again. But that's an argument and a discussion for another time. The way I would go about recording multiple takes with MIDI clips is actually a pretty just, simple and straightforward approach. If there's a section and I know I want to just get that section, I would take that part and I would go way beyond whatever I had in the composition, and I'd probably actually go to the master and just bounce out a loop, whether it's an 8-bar loop or whatever, and I would go and say, okay, this is what we're going to be recording, and what I'm also going to do here is I think I'm going to take the last bar as a lead-in bar, and let's actually option and bring that back. Consolidate those two back together. This is my lead in, so I'm going to change the color there. And then I would just go in here and would literally just like duplicate time. Okay, so I have all of these instances now going out for a long time, and now I could go in here and know, all right, this is the part where I need to record onto, and this is going to give me my lead in every time. So if I go in, and you could imagine that we could go on and on and on like this. And sometimes you'll have a lot better of like a kind of pickup leading in. That's all up to you and what you want to accomplish. But now I can see very clearly where I can chop this off so I could get my different parts and my different takes, and then I could just go in there, recolor them or rename them, and choose what the best take is. So that's honestly the way, if I'm recording in or if somebody's with me and they're recording something in on a MIDI keyboard, that's the way I go about doing it. And then, I'll stream this out even 10, 12 times, and the person will keep being able to re-record that passage until they get something that they feel is really good. And once they get that, we stop it immediately and we go forth and we use that. Now, with audio recording, it's actually a little bit different how this works, and a lot of people don't understand this, or this is a question I've actually gotten like 5 separate times. So clearly, it's something that people aren't aware of. But if we're using a loop here and we're recording audio, let's take a look and see what happens. So I'll just leave that for now, go in here. Let's make sure that this is set up properly. Boop. It is. And if I go in and I record, I don't know what I'm going to say here, but let's find out. Take 1. This is take 1. Take 2. Take 2. This, my friends, is a take a 2 and a ba-ba-da-ba-ba. Take 3. Take 3. This is so embarrassing. I don't know what to say. All right, there we go. This is over. All right, so we went and we recorded that. Really embarrassing, obviously. But what's actually happened here is that it's recorded everything. So I'm going to go in, I'm going to select all of these, and I'm going to pull it over. And then if I take my audio clip and I pull it back to the beginning, suddenly now we have all of those takes that have been recorded. So it does store all of it, and now it's just up to you to know, okay, where are these different takes? Okay, I can see that I have a take here, I have a take here, I have a take here, and then I have something that's left over on that third take, which I'd probably leave alone, and then we could go in here and rename these parts. Take 1, take 2, take 3, and if I want to get really fancy, I could color them different things, and now we could listen back. Take 1. This is take 1. Take 2. Take 2. This, my friends, take it to. Yeah, I'm going to be all over the Billboard charts pretty soon. And the final thing I would do in this example is actually create a group track here. And then I would just go and create like 3 different audio tracks to be nested inside. And then I would just match these up. So I would take the first take, I would take the second take, and I would take, say, the third take, and then I could go through here and I could comp together a vocal performance. So if I liked a part from the first take, I could say, all right, I'm going to chop that out, but I'm going to leave this one, and then I need to chop out this one. You guys know how all of that stuff works. So that would be the way I would go about multi-taking a vocal part. To me, that's actually the best way to go about doing it, or any sort of audio, because it is always going to record everything, and then all you have to do is drag it back out to the left, and you'll have all of those takes there for you. So really simple, but something a lot of people aren't aware of when they've been recording audio or trying to record multiple takes inside of Bitwig. Last but not least, we have a new method with version 1.3.6, which is the reason why this video is being made, that works for both audio and MIDI. And now this is really helpful for a lot of people who don't want to go through this kind of a hassle of bouncing something out and making a bunch of duplicate copies of it and then recording in. And to do that, we're actually going to use the clip launcher screen in the clip launcher page, which I actually don't use that often, but this is an easy enough concept to grasp and work with. So when you go down here into your additional options here from the transport bar, we now have this new post-recording action clip launcher. And the way this works is, and the way I'm going to show it to you is, I'm just going to go record into next free slot. You can play around with the other ones if you want, but this is the most useful one for this application. What this means is, after every 4 bars, and you can set this up however you want, it's going to then record another new 4 bars into the adjacent scene, so into the next open scene. So we can set this up really easily by just going, and again, what I would do here is I would have whatever part it was from the song that I wanted, and I would have that set up. I would take this then, give us that split screen, bring it in here. Let's try playing it back. And now I'll be able to record in this piano part. And every 4 bars, it's going to record a new clip. So I could, again, go back and find what I want to work with and what I want to use. All right, this is purely a theoretical example, but now I can go and I could preview this against whatever clip I had. So if I want to try this one out. You can see our launch quantization is on 1 bar. So and we could kind of jam and find whatever take we like the best. And this also works well for when you're just trying to come up with an idea. So if you just have like a part and you have some kind of, default chord progression that you might replace later on anyway, you could have that chord progression going in the background. You could come up with some different melodies for different parts and, whatever you want to do. And this also works the same way for an audio track. So if I add in an audio track here, and let's choose the right one. I could go in now and I could use and have, like, let's say this second piano part playing back with the drums, and then I could record in different vocal parts, all right, or just different takes. So let's do just a couple of examples here so that it's not too embarrassing for me. Take one. This is the first take. This is the second take. Even better than the first take. I'm getting my DJ Khaled inspirational video on there. But now we could go and play these back. Take one. This is the first take. Right, so, let's turn that off because it's really annoying. So there you have it. That's really the new feature here in version 1.36 for multi taking, whether that's with instrument tracks or with audio tracks. Hopefully, we get to a point where you can do this on the actual timeline and then just be able to, for each take, like imagine it's in a group and then each time it goes around, it puts it into a new audio track. I don't know if that's like something that's possible or not, but hopefully that comes in the future. For now, though, you have this great alternative, which is just fantastic for like jamming out or even a more formal setting where you need to multi take some kind of vocal passage or an instrument track. So there you have it. Hope that was helpful. Feel free to leave any questions you have below. Take care.